Good evening, my name is Christine Robinson, and my action research plan was to determine if classroom behaviors affected the outcome of learning and how well students learn. When I started this, I was in a classroom subbing that had a lot of behavior problems. It not only had a lot of behavior problems, but the students were the lowest level learners in the entire second grade. So my goal was to see if I could teach them better if their classroom behaviors were better under control. So I implemented the use of an electronic behavior management program called Class Dojo. Class Dojo is a way to award points for kids behaving and take points away for kids not behaving. So if you want a kid to stay in their seat instead of getting up and wandering around the room, you can award them a point for staying in their seat and not wandering around the room. But if they get up and wander around the classroom, you would take away that point. Let's see. The data that I used primarily was based off of surveys that I had done where I had asked other teachers about what their beliefs were on classroom management and the students, and had their opinions about classroom behaviors and whether or not it affected them personally and their learning. That's where I started with this, and then of course I implemented the use of Class Dojo, which gives you a report about whether or not the students have more positive reports or negative reports with their behaviors. Okay, the roles for the stakeholders. So the stakeholders really are all of the school district employees. Primarily the stakeholders would be teachers, the educators, the people who are doing the work of educating students. It's most beneficial to them to know whether or not classroom management is going to affect the outcome of their students' learning or not. But in order for classroom teachers to be better trained, of course I need to involve other stakeholders such as building principals and building administrators and the administrators that are in charge of curriculum and professional development, because this is something that could be managed through professional development. Teachers could be given their training on not only how to use Classroom Dojo, but also how to use other electronic behavior management programs that could help monitor the classroom behaviors, which in turn would then allow the teachers in their daily work to monitor the growth of the learning for the students, because that data comes from the work that the kids are actually doing and producing. The expected outcomes and benefits to my organization. So the organization that I work for is an inner city school district that actually has a very diverse cultural environment. And there's a lot of behaviors that we deal with because of things that are happening to our children and our students that are outside of the classroom. Our children, the students that I work with, come into the schools working with a lot of external forces against them, such as low economic status, such as low, what's the other word for it? I don't remember, but their environments, their socialization is very minimal because of the environments they live in. Many of their parents are illiterate themselves, so the children are already coming into school at a disadvantage compared to many other school districts and other children who live in other environments. As I said, I work for an inner city school district, so the illiteracy rate is very high. So Overall, I think it would teach the students how to behave in a classroom setting, because outside of the classroom, many of the students that I work with are raising themselves. Their parents are not present in their lives, and those parents who are often consumed by addictions or other things. So the students, unfortunately, are left to raise themselves, and this might give them a way of learning how to manage their own behaviors and be accountable for themselves within the school setting. So as a whole, that would benefit the organization that I work for, because it will progress with them throughout the years, and they will be able to take that base that they get and continue to grow from that and change and adapt and add into their abilities to monitor themselves and their behaviors and continue to grow with their learning.